Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro says he will file a lawsuit against the U.S. government over the economic damage it caused to his country.
I told Vice President Delcy Rodriguez, Attorney General, and Foreign Minister Jorge Arrieza that we should immediately prepare an international lawsuit before the Court of Justice against the United States government for the damage that is intended to be done to the Conviasa company and to national companies of Venezuela. A global lawsuit against the policy of aggression and sanctions of coercive measures. Venezuela will seek justice in international courts.
Maduro also blamed opposition leader Juan Guaido for U.S. sanctions. He made the remarks during a rally against recent U.S. sanctions against Venezuelan airline Conviasa. The U.S. Treasury Department imposed sanctions on the airline, claiming it is being used to transfer corrupt officials around the world. The U.S. has already imposed several rounds of sanctions against the oil-rich South American country. Washington has for long been trying to oust Maduro and replace him with Guaido, who declared himself interim president last year. Well, via Skype out of Ontario, Mr. Jason Unruhe is joining us. He is a political commentator to share with us his understanding of the latest U.S. move. Jason.
The way I see this is that essentially Venezuela is going to take the usual social democratic route in order to receive justice for the damages that the United States has caused against them. Obviously, these sanctions were illegal. Many of them completely violate international law. You're not allowed to sanction or embargo medical supplies as a prime example. And these are something that the United States has targeted, not necessarily just under Trump, but under Obama as well. So Venezuela is right in seeking out restitution for the damages that have been caused to the economy by the United States. However, I question the viability of these actions. I mean, what regulatory body has the power to actually, let's say they rule in favor of Venezuela, of making the United States pay up on the damages that have been done to the Venezuelan economy? And I think that's an important question that needs to be asked here. But I think it demonstrates very clearly that the Maduro government is acting within the rule of law. These are the legal democratic means that exist to receive justice in these situations, and Maduro is following them. Venezuela is completely in compliance with the law and acting in good faith, where the United States has certainly done the opposite. I mean, the U.S. has a very long history of placing sanctions on countries for simply not bowing to their will, and this is the first time that I can remember a country taking the United States to court to try to pay for some of the damages that they have caused. And I think Venezuela is perfectly right to do so, but we should understand that the power the United States has here is one that they've been exercising for many decades to cause this kind of harm against countries' economies.
And of course, it's not the first time that we see such sanctions against an airline. You know, we have the examples of that in Iran as well. How much of a justified move do you think this is to basically sanction a civilian airline who, except for transporting officials, transports ordinary people as well?
Well, that's certainly a very dangerous thing to do. It's one that shows the very cold-blooded indifference that the United States government has. When you sanction a civilian airline, you're making it more difficult to get the necessary replacement parts to keep many of these planes in the air and to keep them at a safe level. This is a deliberate hindering. This is deliberately placing the public in danger, which the United States has always maintained was not the targets, both in Venezuela and in Iran, that the regular civilian population was not the target of these sanctions. Yet when you target a civilian airline like this, that is exactly what you are doing. You are endangering the public. And there's been a lot of air disasters all over the world. Just in the last 5 years or so, there has been a great number of disasters, and doing something like this, hindering civilian airlines, would only seek to make this problem even worse.
Okay, thank you very much. That's Mr. Jason Unruhe, political commentator out of Ontario. I appreciate your time, sir.